So today we're going to switch over to wet feed. It's basically your thinner sugar water, and these guys are a little milky because we mixed in about 2 teaspoons on each quart of the Honeybee Healthy, which is supposed to help them along. So here we go. Well, it's mid-March and the bees are going crazy, so it's time to slap together some equipment. I picked up about 6 new honey supers, which obviously we use on the main hives as well, and we need to get those stapled together and ready to take out to the bee park. So for some perspective, these staples are known as 1.5-inch staples. They're 18 gauge. And you can see approximately, once they're down there, this gives you a really good grip into it. I used nails and drilled them out in previous years, but it got to be incredibly monotonous. So finally broke down and got an air stapler, and it's really been wonderful using it. So if you figure about 30 nails or to 40 nails, depending on the size of the super, times, 30 or 40 supers, you can understand why it gets very monotonous drilling and piling out the holes and putting nails in. This stapler is a bit of a godsend. I wanted to slap together these 6 supers, and use the empty supers for starters with regards to the feed. And the frames, obviously, it made sense to do them at the same time. And those I will store for now. I don't normally put the foundation in them until they're ready to go into the hives. But, hey, why not? If you're going to do something, do it all in a row. It was mid-March, and the bees were really going crazy. I mean, the activity really amazed me. There's something that's come into bloom, whether it's the red maples or some other tree. I can't see them really on the flowers too much, but they're coming back with a lot of pollen. And it's getting to the point where there's traffic jams on the entrance reducers, and I think the mouse screens have kind of served their purpose. As you can see, they're piling up on top of the screens trying to get into the hives. So it was time for those to come off. And I'll leave them slightly reduced for now. There's one hive that just was incredibly backlogged, and that one I decided to change the entrance reducer around on. Mid-March is still a little early to start ripping the hives apart and looking for issues, but there's a lot you can tell just looking in the entrance, looking at the whiteboard, and looking upstairs at how much sugar they're taking and how much pollen cake they're eating. This was the day I intend to switch them over to wet feed. I prepared that, as you saw earlier in the video. Basically 1-to-1 sugar water with the Honeybee Healthy added. I mean, I'm not a sponsor of theirs, but a lot of people really swear by the stuff, so why not give it a try out? But first, I wanted to get these entrances unclogged. These guys were having a blast today, going out and getting something from somewhere, and I didn't want anything limiting their ability to do that. So, a lot of the pollen patty's gone. Well, we're going to chase these girls down a little bit and switch over to a wet feed model. To do that, I'm going to add an empty honey super. Now, the issue with empty honey supers on top is you can't leave them that way. If you do, they'll simply start building comb up here. So, for a couple of weeks though, it'll be okay. For now, I'm still going to keep the burlap box on top to reduce the amount of moisture. It might drip back down on the bees. going to do this to all the hives today. They're just buzzing. Nobody up there? Okay. So this is the hive we thought was almost dead. They're anything but today. I think they'll do just fine. Unless we have something really crazy happen. They're even choosing a little bit at the pollen patty there. Not sure where they're getting the pollen from. These girls are coming back. So I think we have a tree bloom. All the hives today are just absolutely on fire. It's really incredible. Beautiful sight to see. Again, that yellow pollen. They're coming in laden with it. I still have the hives reduced. This hive I went to the wider reducer. There was just such a backlog of bees getting in and out. This is the one that had a mouse issue before, so I'm a little concerned about doing that. But I think they're more than capable of defending themselves at this point. So I'm going to go with a slightly larger entrance reducer. This is our very, very weak hive, the one that we're so worried about. And I'm leaving them obviously reduced. I'm also leaving that mouse guard screen on there, but you know, even they're coming and going. So they certainly seem to be happy. Bottom line is, these guys think spring has hit. I gotta assume, judging by the pollen patty consumption, that they got good brood going. It's gonna be cold in a couple of days, so I don't wanna rip them apart and start doing, you know, an actual inspection for brood, but I'm really happy with what I saw today. Till next time, from Buzz Park. Bye.